Andy, did you after that match in Melbourne when you lost? Did you ever think you would ever be back at this stage at a Grand Slam? Did you truly believe that you would be here? I know there was a lot going through your mind, and you had the hip surgery a couple of weeks later. But did you always believe that you could make it to a Grand Slam again after that match in Melbourne?
I mean, it would depend when you ask me that question. I mean, if you asked me like the day after I had the operation, I mean, I was in bits. I mean, I would have said no, and like the few weeks afterwards, like, you know, definitely, you know, I would have said not. But then, with each week that passed and each month that passed, like, yeah, I started to believe, and then, you know, I was I was a bit pissed off. I wasn't allowed to play singles at Wimbledon that year, or even though it was only a few months after I'd had the operation, because actually I was feeling good, like physically, in terms of like no pain. And then it was probably until I started playing, like I didn't really know until I started playing practice sets post Wimbledon, and I beat a few guys in practice in Washington. I was playing some practice sets there, and then went to Canada and beat some good players in practice sets there. And I was like, okay, like I think I'm going to be all right here. So yeah, it probably wasn't until I actually got back on the tour and played guys in singles that I actually really sort of believed it. Yeah, that was probably a good 4 or 5 months later. But certainly at the time, like pre-surgery and post-surgery, no, I didn't think I would be able to. But that's because I was told that I wouldn't. You know, it was like told, like, you have this operation, like there's a good chance you're not going to be able to play like high-level singles again. And I didn't have anyone else to look at. So, you know, I couldn't speak to anyone except really Bob Bryan about their experiences of it and things. So yeah, I was sort of going into the dark a little bit.
Simon Briggs followed by Stuart Fraser. Simon, you're up.
Yeah, hi Andy. I'm asking you to guess probably a bit here, but do you think it might be easier for you to do best of 5 the day in between than best of 3 back to back?
I mean, in Antwerp, like last year, I played. Well, I think I played every day. I think I played 5 matches in 5 days, and played, I think, 3 sets in the final, semis, quarters. I think from memory, and actually felt all right after that. So I don't really know. The day off obviously helps, for sure. Last week, you know, was tough. Like the day after the match with Zverev, but it was also, I mean, it's the first match I'd played in 10 months. So, you know, playing 2.5 hour matches in the heat of the day, you know, was difficult. But the body, I mean, my body will learn fast. It's been, you know, playing tennis matches its whole life, and I think we'll adjust to what is required to do. It just might take a little bit of time because I've not done it for a while.
Okay, we're going to go Stuart Fraser, Paul Newman, and we're going to end with Russell Fuller. Stuart Fraser, Paul Newman, and we're going to end with Russell Fuller. Stuart, you're up.
Thank you. Andy, I imagine like for 3 years it's been pretty exhausting having people ask about your hip all the time, having us ask, having people you bump into the street or whatever else. But I wondered, was there anyone who spoke to you or sent you messages, maybe from the world of sport or anywhere else, that sort of helped you along the way, give you a bit of inspiration to come back?
Yeah, there was. I mean, like now I actually don't care. Like right the same, people ask me about my hip because it feels fine. The worst part was when I was sort of, well, in a way, lying to people, or just not being totally honest because, I don't know, because of the nature of sport, really, and I didn't want to say, like, you know, and that's why, like, in Australian stuff, I was very upset. It was the first time I'd really spoken openly about it, but had been struggling for a long time and trying to, put a bit brave face on it. But yeah, there's one person in particular that helped me, and it was... it was a doctor / surgeon who told me after Wimbledon in 2017 that I didn't have long left, and that, you know, you could have a surgery, so like the resurfacing or a hip replacement, but you won't play professional sport again. And actually bumped into him. It was weird timing, because I bumped into him the morning after I had my hip resurfacing, when I took my first steps on the new hip with the crutches, and I walked past him in the hallway, and he smiled at me and said to my wife, I told him he was going to have to do this, like a few. You know, and it just really got me. Like I was not happy, and yeah, I would say that was probably the thing for me that gave me, the biggest sort of motivation, because at that moment I'd obviously been going through a difficult time, had the operation, and then I sort of felt like there was a bit of smugness to what he told me, and and yeah, that was kind of enough for me. And yeah, I was actually going to send him a bottle of wine to say thanks for the motivation once I got back on the court competing again, but I haven't brought myself to do that yet.
Paul Newman, followed by Russell Fuller, and we're done.
Andy, I wanted to ask you about arrangements at the tennis for the players. I think certainly the top seeds, I think, have been allocated hospitality boxes where they can base themselves. I wonder, have you been allocated a box like that? Yeah,
past champions got one as well, which was a big win for me because that has helped for sure, because like when it rains and stuff, like it has been today, just having, you know, a space to be able to just go and hang out, and there's TV and you can sit and watch, you know, anyone that's practicing on Arthur Ashe. That's for sure helped a bit. But honestly, like they have done a really, really good job over here. It's been good. They've done the best I think that they could have done with, you know, in this situation. I guess I didn't really know what to expect. I hadn't played any tournaments like this before, but you know, for me, like the hotel's absolutely fine. The venue, you know, they've put lots of different activities and stuff on for the players and staff, and the food is good and it's very quick, and you know, the shuttle buses and everything are running every 15 minutes, and you know, they have done a good job. You know, it feels safe, and yeah, I'm happy I decided to come, because obviously I know there was, not just for me, but lots of players were a bit apprehensive about it, didn't know what it was going to be like, but for the most part I think the players are pleased with how it's gone.
Okay, Russell Fuller, last question.
Final question, Andy, about Naomi Osaka's actions last week. Do you think that tennis should collectively be taking decisions like the one they took last week to pause play for 24 hours in support of Black Lives Matter? Or should it be down to individuals, give them the right to decide whether they want to play or not?
Fucking hell, that's a difficult question. So my understanding of the situation here was that Naomi felt very passionately about it. On that day, obviously, the other major sports that were competing in the States at the time had decided to postpone / boycott the matches. I asked questions about what the ATP WTA were going to be doing in response to those actions and how we were gonna respond. I was told that discussions were sort of underway about how we as a sport would go about it. And whilst those discussions were happening, Naomi had decided that she was not going to play the following day, and obviously put out her statement, which I fully supported, and I thought it was fantastic, and she speaks extremely well, and she did great. And then obviously the ATP and WTA shortly afterwards released their statement saying that the matches were going to be postponed, and I believe it was the correct decision. I thought I was happy that they took that decision. But in terms of who should make those calls, I mean, no, as an individual athlete, you have the opportunity to make that decision, yourself. And Naomi obviously felt extremely strongly about what had happened, and like I said, I support that decision. But then also off the back of that, I'm also pleased and happy that the ATP and the WTA, in my opinion, made the correct decision to postpone. I don't really know if I answered the question, but that was my understanding of what was happening. I believe individuals should have the right to do what we're individual athletes. We should have the right to do what we want, which I think is also the case in team sports as well. If one player doesn't feel comfortable competing or playing, they don't have to do that. We have that choice. So that's my feeling on it. But I thought tennis did pretty well, to be honest.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Andy.